Tech Home Media.
At Smith Auto and Truck Parts, Team PRP, we believe that our commitment to outstanding customer service sets us apart from the rest. We are constantly looking for ways to improve the quality, delivery, and inventory of our products. Our full line of new aftermarket hoods, fenders, bumpers, headlamps, tail lamps, grills, radiators, and AC condensers for your late model car or truck are second to none. You can buy from us with confidence, knowing that our parts have been cleaned, tested, and inspected, and come with our promise that you will be satisfied. With 15,000 units on site and 100,000 parts in our computerized inventory, we have just about anything you need for your late model car or truck. And if we don't have it, we'll find it for you with our free nationwide parts locating service. Visit us at 402 East Burnside Drive in Garden City, Kansas, or give us a call at 620-275-9145. This episode is sponsored by Big Fish Bail Bonds. Big Fish Bail Bonds is your first choice in bondsmen. We are located 3 blocks away from the Sedgwick County Jail in Wichita, Kansas. We accept all major credit cards, and we accept payment plans on big bonds with no collateral in some cases. Find us at bigfishbailbonds.us or give us a call at 316-262-4100. Big Fish Bail Bonds. Big or small, we release them all.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Kansas Missing and Unsolved podcast. I'm your host, Ricky Jbergy, and joining me tonight, as always, is Derek Relaford. How's it going, Derek? Sorry about my camera.
Doing pretty good, man. How you doing?
It's been a busy day today. I've been doing a lot of work on Kansas Missing today. It's been keeping me hopping, which is fine.
Yeah, a lot of located safes, a lot of new flyers, a lot of stuff going on for sure.
Yeah,
we got Chris Unruh in the house. Kelly Upoff is here. Double T.
Yeah, I was looking at that picture you used in the one sponsor has me in it. And I was looking at how much darker this was than that picture 10 years ago. A lot whiter now.
Diana Hayden is here. Ellen Dotson here. Rodney Cox. Love when Rodney hangs out. And Diana says she actually got the notification this time. That is good.
Be snookered. Good deal.
204 missing juveniles, 326 adults as of an hour ago in the state of Kansas.
Too many.
Yeah, lots of that going on out there. Tanya Chaput.
Hello, Tanya. Are you new to our podcast, Tanya?
I have not seen her name before.
I haven't either. That's what I was asking.
Yeah, there's a lot of people saying they got the notification. I know it's the same thing. You've aged. Double T is talking trash.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, glad you could be here, Tanya.
Yeah, welcome to the crazy show.
Yes, I have aged in 10 years.
a little bit, buddy. All right, everybody. We're going to cover some cases. Typically, we cover several cases each week. We usually try to spread those out throughout the show, but tonight we're going to cover those cases first and just kind of, ease into the show. We've been covering them for a couple months now. Still no updates out of Independence. There's been several media pushes since his disappearance, but Ricky's going to tell you all about it.
They're definitely doing the media pushes, trying to make sure that his case doesn't get forgotten and to let people know they're still wanting information and wanting to get him found. But yeah, Dietrich Foster is missing from Independence, Kansas since April 12, 2020. He was 37 when he went missing. He's now 40. He's 5'9", 190 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. He was reported missing on May 12th of 2020. He was last seen around April 12th of 2020. KBI and detectives from the Independence Police Department are conducting his case as a homicide based upon findings during the investigation into Dietrich's disappearance. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 37. He's now 40. He's 5'9", weighs 190 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Dietrich's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Independence, Kansas Police Department at 620-332-1700 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. and see if we can't get him located. And again, there is that $5,000 governor's reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the disappearance and suspected murder of Dietrich Foster. So let's see if we can't get some information generated and get him found and back to where he needs to be.
Yeah. And, talking to some of Dietrich's loved ones, it seems like it's kind of a little bit of the same as far as what other families that we're friendly with because of this show. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of updates coming out of LE. And then also, it seems like the families know a lot more about the the ins and outs of some of the rumors and stuff going around. Like, so there's definitely a lot more information. But again, things that you can cover responsibly on a public domain. Obviously we don't want to say anything that would negatively cast accusations at any innocent people or anything like that. But just so every case we cover, there's way more to the story than what the flyers say. And yeah, that's the sad truth of it. But the flyer does say enough here to know the facts that Dietrich hasn't been seen in a long time, and the law enforcement thinks he's no longer with us. So $5,000 if anybody has any information on this case that's as each day goes by growing colder.
Right. Most definitely.
Rachel says hello. Thanks for all you do. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Rachel. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for doing a podcast. You have covered my brother's case right across the river in Illinois. Bring Josh home.
Oh yeah, Josh. Yeah, okay. I recognize the picture in her profile picture there. Can't think of his last name, but yeah, we've covered his case. And if we need to, we can do it again.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I have no issues with recovering cases if we need to.
We've covered this case for 2 years. Alexander Perez.
Right. He's missing from Ulysses, Kansas since December 1st of 2020. He was 35 when he went missing. He's now 37. He's 5'11", weighs 235 pounds, has black hair that he shaves nearly bald and brown eyes. He contacted a family member via telephone on December 1st and said he'd be coming over to do some laundry. Alexander never arrived at that family member's home in Ulysses, and he's not been heard from or seen by family since then. He had been staying with family and friends prior to his disappearance. It's believed that Alexander may still be in the local Ulysses area, or he may be in the Garden City, Kansas, or surrounding areas. At the time of his disappearance, he was 35. He's now 37. He's 5'11", weighs 235 pounds, has black hair that he shaves nearly bald and brown eyes. He has a tattoo of a bumblebee on his face underneath his left eye, has Perez tattooed on one of his arms, has a tattoo of a cross on a chain across his chest. If you have any information regarding Alexander's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Grant County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-356-3500 or the Ulysses, Kansas Police Department at 620-356-4600 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Alex located and back home to his family where he needs to be, because I know they're really wanting to get him found and really wanting to get him home. So let's help them do that.
Yeah, and it's just it's been a long time. There's been a lot of stories that have come out in the local area. Like pretty early on in the case, there was some pretty disturbing. I wouldn't say they were like facts or anything, but there was some pretty disturbing things put out on social media pertaining to Snapchat and stuff. And it just goes to show you that. Yeah, like this is real. Alexander has not been seen in a very long time. And yeah, like that's people talk about it. Like we're not the only show that have covered Alexander. People are talking about this. And again, just like Dietrich, I feel like I don't want this, it's a cold case, but I hate that. I hate that I watched two things turn into cold cases, basically.
Yeah, let's hopefully we can get him found and located.
Yeah. Esther is here.
Hey, Esther.
Diana's wondering if there's any word about Charles McHenry.
I haven't heard anything on him for quite some time. We did cover him last week, I do believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we did pretty much a Garden City type show last week.
Yeah, we covered a lot from that area.
Yeah,
and,
we did.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about Dana Jane Bruce. This is a Missouri case.
Okay. And this is Dana Bruce, missing from Sedalia, Missouri since October 4th, 2008. She was 23 when she went missing. She'd now be 37. She is 5'2", weighs 98 pounds, has brown hair and green or hazel eyes. She was last seen at her children's babysitter's home in Sedalia. She left the children there earlier that day so she could go out for the evening. She returned at midnight and gave the babysitter more money and asked her to watch the children for the remainder of the night. She was last seen at Malone's Bar on Main Street with a young man driving a late model red Ford F-150 truck earlier on the night of her disappearance. She left with that man at 11:30 p.m. Police have identified the man that Dana was with on the night she vanished. He traveled to Atlanta, Georgia after her disappearance, and police questioned him about Dana after he was arrested there on unrelated charges of marijuana possession and driving on a suspended license. Authorities have not named him publicly, but they are calling him a person of interest in her case. He told his questioners that he and Dana parted ways after they left the bar, and he never saw her after that. She left all of her belongings behind, including her hairbrush and toothbrush. She does not have credit cards, debit cards, checking account, cell phone, or a car. Again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 23. She would now be 37. She's 5'2" and weighs 98 pounds. She has brown hair that was colored brown at the roots, black at the ends with red highlights, and green or hazel eyes. She was last known to be wearing a black shirt with the word Rebel in silver lettering on the front and blue jeans. Dana has a tattoo of a teddy bear with wings, excuse me, and the name Dylan on her upper left arm. She is blind in her left eye. Dana has a 2-inch scar along her lower spine and a staple scar on her right shoulder. Her ears are pierced one time each. If you have any information regarding Dana's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Sedalia, Missouri Police Department at 660-827-7823 or 660-826-8100, or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178, or toll free at 866-362-6422, and see if we can help get Dana located and back to her family. I know, there's another family. They're wanting answers. They're wanting to find her. They're wanting to get her home. And here it's been, it'll be 15 years this October. So let's see if we can't get her home and found before then.
Yeah, we said over 5,000 days.
Yeah. Way, way too many.
Yeah. I mean, that's got to be tough, Like, I kind of know what it's like to not see my parent forever, because I have a parent that kind of took off. But
Right.
This is a completely different situation, Like, if I really wanted to, I could probably find my dad. I know he's alive.
Right.
Like, I'm sure if I want to, I can find him. But, Dana's kids, they can't find her,
Yeah. And somebody knows something. I'm confident of that.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting them to speak up and do the right thing and give the information that needs to be given to get her found and brought home. I mean, that's just bottom line.
Yeah. Kelly's asking if there's anything about Star or Megan that we have any updates or anything.
Nothing yet. We need to get with, as far as Megan goes, need to get with Ashley and see if she's got anything new.
Yeah. Ashley had a lot happen in a short amount of time. So that's why it's just been really hard to schedule that. She's a very busy person. And within the last year and a half, 2 years, she got married and then she lost her father. And then I think some of her kids have been going to different schools. So she's just been busy. But yeah, we need to quit making excuses and wrangle interview with Ashley Duft and just see what the news is. There's got to be some type of updates that she can tell us about.
Yeah,
we just gotta make it happen. She's great. We like Ashley quite a bit. Like I said, she's just a very busy person, and she's done a lot in the last couple of years. Really, a lot of stuff. So, Double T says somebody definitely knows something, and that person needs to come forward. Exactly. Andrea Vian from Junction City. I feel like she's been here.
Hey, Andrea, how you doing? Been a while since we've seen you.
Maybe she got the notification just like everybody else.
Maybe.
Facebook's not mad at us
a
anymore.
while. It's been an issue for a while. People not getting notifications.
Yeah, I don't like it. Let's talk about our buddy Kenny Wright-Check.
Okay, this is Kenny Wright-Check, or Kenneth Wright-Check, missing from Salina, Kansas since November 4th, 2019. Was 69 when he went missing. He's now 72. He is 5'9", weighs 175 pounds, has gray hair and blue eyes. He does sometimes use the last name Brown as opposed to his given name of Wright-Check. He does suffer from diminished mental health capabilities, and he is on disability. He has not tried to access any of his money since he was last seen. He may have family in northwest Kansas, possibly around the Colby area. He was last seen at the Gospel Mission in Salina. He left there and has not been seen or heard from since that time. He does not have a phone, a vehicle, or any identification. His mode of transportation was his bicycle that he rode around and picked up scrap metal to cash in at Salina Iron and Metal, which is now renamed All Metal Recycling over on North 5th over there. Again, and he was 69 when he went missing. He's now 72. He's 5'9", weighs about 175 pounds, has gray hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Kenny's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477, or you can text SA Tips to 274-637 or visit pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip, or call the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get Kenny located and back to where he needs to be. And there's a lot of people worried about him and miss him and want to know that he's okay. And hopefully he is. Hopefully he's out there living his best life and doesn't even realize he's probably missing. So let's see if we can't get him found and see that he's okay.
And we still need to, if anybody has any idea how to track down, because I'm assuming Kenny went to school, you know, people have taken pictures of Kenny throughout the years. I would like just to see him, because I've been covering Kenny since I met Ricky, and this is the only picture I've ever seen. I just feel like it'd be nice to see some other pictures, you know, besides some random like driver, you know, identification card photo. So if anybody has any idea where he went to school, maybe there's like some yearbook photos. I would just like to see what Kenny looked like back in the day, because Ricky tells some pretty cool stories about him. So
right. Yeah, he was a pretty nice guy. I used to bump into him like at the corner gas stations and stuff like that, where I'd see him playing pinball and video games, and I just stand there and watch him and chit chat with him while he was doing it. And he was pretty good at pinball, I have to admit, better than me. But yeah, I'd like to see him get found, and hopefully he is okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you sent me this one, but it was still in here. But let's go ahead and cover Rachel Pratt.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was thinking we did her last week, but yeah, we can do her again this week. That's fine. This is Rachel Geraldine Pratt, missing from Garden City, Kansas, since January 16th, 1995. She was 15 when she went missing. She would now be 43. She's 5'7", weighs 125 pounds, has brown hair and brown eyes. She was last seen watching a movie inside her family's residence in Garden City at approximately 1 a.m. on January 16th, 1995. She disappeared under suspicious circumstances and has never been heard from again. Rachel left all of her clothing and personal belongings at her home except for her coat. 5 days after her disappearance, some girls claim to have seen her talking on a payphone with her 18-year-old boyfriend. They say she left the phone with her boyfriend after asking the girls for a ride, then went into Dylan's grocery store. The sighting has not been confirmed, and her boyfriend denies having been with her after she vanished. Rachel was supposed to be a witness against her boyfriend, who was being prosecuted for unlawful sexual relations with her. Because Rachel disappeared before she could testify, the charges were dropped. They started dating when Rachel was a 14-year-old high school freshman and her boyfriend was a senior. He was her first boyfriend. Rachel's mother found out that she was pregnant after Rachel was arrested for attempting to shoplift a home pregnancy test from Walmart. She gave her statement to the police at that time. There is no evidence to indicate that Rachel has given birth. There's also no record of her having receiving a driver's license, a copy of her birth certificate, or a social security card. She may have remained in the Garden City area after disappearance. There have been no sightings of her in many years, but authorities remain hopeful that she is still alive. Rachel has 7 siblings. Her mother still lives in the same address and has kept the same phone number. If anybody has any information regarding Rachel's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Garden City, Kansas Police Department at 620-276-1300 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get Rachel located and back to her family as well. It's been quite a long time.
Yeah. And like one of the heartbreaking things, and I'm pretty sure you say it in the flyer, like her mom still lives in that house, which is kind of, I mean, I don't know many people who live in the same town they lived in 1995. You know what I mean? Like that's wild that, you know, but I do understand the sentiment. I mean, obviously they might just like the house, but if your teenage daughter goes missing, the second you move from that house, like if your daughter ever came back, she wouldn't know where to go, you know?
Right.
Granted, like, you know, it's 2023. If Rachel's alive and well out there, she probably knows how to use, you know, social media, but like it's just a sad fact about this case that her mom just still lives in that same house in hopes that someday Rachel will come through the door again, you know? Pretty sad stuff.
Yeah, same thing with the phone number. Kept the same phone number all those years in case Rachel wants to call. She still has that same number.
Yeah, so, very heartbreaking.
I've heard of that in other cases where a family member chooses to stay at the same residence, keep the same phone number just in case. So, let's see if we can help get her found.
I'm gonna look this up real quick. Okay, we did this for so it's been 10,348 days since Rachel's.
Holy mackerel. That's a long time when you think about it in terms of days. I mean, years is long enough, but when you break it down to days, that's wow.
Yeah, 10,000 days that her friends and family and loved ones have wondered where she went. That's like a punishment almost, rather than something somebody else. It's almost like, you know, they were punished. This is 10,000 days without knowing what happened. That's just crazy. That is awful. And I'm sure Double T is going to check my math, but John Roberts says the loved ones' lives would be frozen in time in a lot of ways. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you, Don.
100% going to cover Rachel.
Yep. You're very welcome, Salty Monkey.
Salty Monkey. All right. Let's talk about Emma Waltner. This is a case that you sent over today. Looks like we got a youngster here.
Yeah, this is Emma Waltner, missing from Wichita, Kansas since May 17, 2023. She's 14. She is 5'2" tall, weighs 210 pounds, has light brown hair and blue eyes. It's believed she may be with Heather Berry, and initially there was a 9-year-old Marley Herring that was missing as well, but she was located safe, thankfully. But Heather Berry and Emma Waltner still remain missing. Again, Emma's 14 years old. She's 5'2", weighs 210 pounds, has light brown hair and blue eyes. She does wear glasses. And if you have any information regarding her disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call 911 immediately or call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9452 or 316-660-9456 or 316-263-6011 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Emma located and back to where she needs to be.
Youngster, 14 years old.
Yeah.
And usually I use the my go-to reason for youngsters to go home is they have school, but I don't think that's true anymore, right? Is that today was the end?
I think it was for here in town. I know it was, but I'm not sure how Wichita runs their schedules.
Yeah, but I mean, right around this time, like my kid's last day of school is tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of curious if we're gonna have. You did say it was a busy day. I'm kind of curious if the page is going to be a lot more active with it being summertime. And
I'm sure.
Like, this is one thing I was talking about with Norm last night on his show. is like I take medications for illnesses and stuff, and I it's important for me to take them twice a day. But if I do one thing different, like just one thing different that I don't normally do every day, like I'll more than likely miss my dose, because I'm such a creature of habit that just changing one part of my routine can throw off my entire weekend sometimes.
Yeah.
So I feel like kids, like Emma here, she's 14, she's pretty young. I don't want to make her feel like I'm saying she's like a child, but she's a young person, and school, maybe after school activities, things that people like Emma can go do every day, are very, very helpful for keeping them occupied, keeping them learning, learning social skills. And I just feel like in the summertime, there's just idle time can be a dangerous thing for some people,
Right.
where there's just
Yeah.
there's nothing, there's nowhere to be, there's nothing to do. It's just the mind can wander. But I'm just kind of curious if we're gonna have a busy summer, because they don't, these people don't have to go to school the next day. You know what I mean?
Right. And my understanding was her and Heather Berry and Marley did leave from school. So
Okay.
that's my understanding.
Well, speaking of which, Heather Berry.
Right. And I have done a flyer for her in the past, but the original one I did, she was actually missing out of Garden City, and now she's missing out of Wichita. So, and since yesterday, May 17, 2023, she's 16. She is 5'2", weighs between 90 and 100 pounds, has brown hair and blue eyes. It's believed she may be with Emma Waltner. And again, she's 16, 5'2", weighs between 90 and 100 pounds, has brown hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Heather's disappearance, her whereabouts, please call 911 immediately, or call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9452, or 316-660-9456, or 316-263-6011, or the KBI at 785-296-4017, and see if we can't get Heather located and back to where she needs to be as well.
Was there a third flyer that was to be with these?
No, because Marley was located earlier.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You had said that.
Yeah, Marley was located, thankfully.
I was going to say Heather does look familiar. You said Garden City, right?
Yeah.
I shared her. I share anytime we post a Garden City flyer, I try to share it in this. Every town has those
the original flyer when I shared it was just the one with the picture on the right and the green shirt. I added the one on the left today. So.
Yeah, the one on the right is the one that looked familiar. Well, and again, I don't know Heather's situation at all, but knowing that she was in Garden City and missing from there recently, and now she's missing from Wichita, it makes me kind of curious that maybe Heather doesn't have a super strong, structured, place to live,
Right.
Which is, again, remove one piece of structure from somebody's life, a grown up, it can throw them into a whirl, So just, whatever her circumstances, I think it's rough that she's, moving around and stuff, whatever that reason is. And I just hope that Heather can, remember that eventually, here pretty soon, she'll be an adult. She can do what she wants. She can get a job, go to school, whatever you want to do. The world is your oyster. I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up your butt, but life can be pretty cool. Just being a normal person is pretty cool. Just, doing what you want to do and not hurting anybody. So, we cover a lot of these flyers, and we don't know if anybody's a victim. I don't want to use the word victim, but anybody's in a bad foster situation. If anybody's, there's just a lot of variables when it comes to seeing repeating flyers with new dates on them every couple of months. You wonder, okay, is this person running because they want to be free, or are they running from something bad? You know what I mean? Definitely not lost on that.
Right.
Salty Monkey says, talking about Rachel Pratt, her stepfather used to be, or still maybe, I don't know. I know as when I was living in Garden City last in 2018, I believe he was still a judge. Yeah. But wow. I have not kept up with that. Alicia Perret, we have not seen her in a very long time.
Wichita's still in school. Okay. Thank you, Alicia. Appreciate that.
Good to see you, Alicia. It's been a while since we've seen you.
Yeah.
Double T Salina schools had their last day of school today. By the way, Derek, I checked Google. I didn't use robot Double T. I checked. I used Google because robot embarrassed me last time I did math. But yeah, 10,000 days since Rachel Pratt.
That's a long time.
Not good. Well, 10,000 plus. It's time for tonight's featured case. We are going to talk about an unsolved homicide in Reno County. Ricky's going to tell you all about Gale.
Yeah, this one I ran across on, I believe it was Reno County Sheriff's Office's Facebook page. And I commented that I would go ahead and get a flyer made. And they said, thank you very much. And I said, you're very welcome. And did some research on newspapers.com, dug through a bunch of articles. And this is what I came up with. Gale A. Sorenson is, again, Reno County, Kansas, 1977. So we're going back quite a ways here. On February 11, 1977, Gale A. Sorenson, 23, had left work to run some errands for her employer. After not returning to work, her coworkers became concerned and notified her husband, who later reported her missing. Later in the evening, Gale's vehicle was found in the Dillon's parking lot at 734 East 4th in Hutchinson, Kansas. A witness who was later interviewed said she observed a vehicle in the Dillon's parking lot, which is believed to have been Gale's. She said that she observed a lady sitting in the driver's seat of the vehicle and an unknown male standing outside of the driver's side door talking to the driver. She said that both were laughing, and she assumes that they knew each other. The unknown white male was described as 26 to 28 years old, between 5'10" and 6 foot tall, having brown hair, which was about collar length or longer, and was shaggy in appearance. He was described as wearing wireframe glasses with brown lenses, a red stocking cap, and a mustache and goatee. Several days later, Gale's body was discovered southeast of Hutchinson along the Arkansas River levee. Her throat had been slashed, and she'd been sexually assaulted. Gale also sustained a blow to the head that may have been inflicted after her death. It was estimated she had been dead at least 12 hours when her body was discovered. This crime scene and further investigation was conducted by the Reno County Sheriff's Office and the KBI. Investigators devoted a tremendous amount of effort and time and resources into finding the persons responsible for Gale's murder. Unfortunately, her murder remains unsolved. If you have any information regarding the murder of Gale Sorenson, please contact Captain Sean McClay or Detective Diana Scomal with the Reno County Sheriff's Office at 620-694-2735. If you wish to remain anonymous, you can call 620-694-2666 or 1-800-222-8477 and see if we can't help get some justice for Gale and her family. It's been a long time. I had never heard of this case before until I ran across it on Reno County's page.
1977.
Yeah, I was 10 years old. Well, I was 9. I hadn't had my 10th birthday yet.
Wow. I don't know. The longer I do this show, the more I think it's like. I always thought like, if you killed somebody, there's no way you'd get away with it. Like, that's what I've always thought. Like, since I was a kid, you watch the show, you watch the TV shows, the movies, the bad guy always gets caught, But the longer I do this show, I'm just like, I don't think it's that hard to get away with killing somebody. Like, there's a lot of unsolved homicide. It really freaks me out how many unsolved homicides there are in just Kansas, and that means there's people who have taken a life just walking around. I mean, that really makes me sad to realize that. I don't think it's that far-fetched to get away with a crime like that. Like, we just see too many cases,
Right. That was the main reason I started the Salinas County, Kansas missing and unsolved page, was because I wanted to highlight those cases here in town, because there are a lot of unsolved murders, which, like you say, means there are potentially killers walking among us. Makes me stop and think, when I'm at work, did the person that walked by me, could that be the person that killed that person? I mean, you don't know. Makes you stop and think.
Yeah, Christina's Minor Frost was wondering where she worked.
I'd have to research that. I know I read across that in one article. I've got 3 or 4 other articles that I have on my computer, but on my other computer. I switched computers to do this show, but it's on on my other computer, so I'll have to look. I'm not for sure off the top of my head, but I can find out.
Alicia had a baby. Congratulations.
Oh,
So
wow, Alicia, congratulations.
Alicia and Kelly both have. We have KMU
Yeah.
babies. The show is older than these babies.
Right. Right. And Scarlett just turned 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Now you're in for some real fun. The terrible twos.
Terrible twos. I told my buddy at work, I was like, how's your kid? He's like, oh, he's 2. And he's like, yeah, the terrible twos. I was like, yeah, I got a 7 and a 9-year-old. I was like, that whole terrible 2 thing, it just keeps going. It never gets good. It's always like your kids are going to drive you crazy. There's a reason, we have gray in our beards because we have kids. Dawn says she's been missing 16,897 days. Who is she talking
I don't
about?
know.
I don't know. And then we have some more comments here. Scarlett is definitely the mask. Yep, she is the KMU baby. She's 2. Diana says it is chilling.
Yes,
Christina's going to look into it. And then Dawn says they have no conscience. That's what makes them capable of killing and then walking free as though they never killed anyone. And honestly, and this is something that I don't really consider our podcast a true crime podcast in the sense we're more of a public service announcement in my opinion. But I've kind of gotten to the point where I just can't even listen to true crime podcasts anymore. It's just, I feel like it's people taking advantage of bad things to sell commercials and stuff. And, I've heard enough interviews of people who are just monsters that kill people. Mm-hmm. I've heard enough interviews of people basically answering well, how do you feel now that you've been caught? And they're honest. They're like, I don't feel anything. I don't care. I can put on a show for you. I can say sorry to the family. I can do whatever you need me to do. But at the end of the day, I do not, I would do it again. I have and that's the thing. How many times do we have to hear the story of the person that is a sociopath, psychopath? Instead of dumping hundreds of millions of dollars into retelling, gory details about loved ones being murdered, maybe we should try to figure out how to finding people that don't have a conscience, first of all, and maybe figuring that out. And 2, maybe figure out something with the mental health crisis going on in this country. Yeah. I feel like a lot of the people, if you go out and you kill somebody, I'm just a guessing man. I'm thinking you might have some kind of psychological issue that maybe could have been prevented through counseling and perhaps medication. So again, really bums me out that there's literally hundreds of millions of dollars for cheap comedians telling jokes around details about people being brutally murdered and sexually assaulted. But there's no time to figure out why these people are doing these crazy things. And it just bums me out. Perez says it's a horrible feeling knowing that people that are walking around here in GC that did something to my bro. It's very scary and frustrating. Yeah. Is that Alex? I think that's Alexander Perez's family member. Yeah. Oh, Don was saying it was that long since that crime's been unsolved.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, I mean,
BTK, zero remorse.
Like BTK has no remorse, and like Gary Ridgway. I mean, he didn't even. I was watching a documentary about him and was talking about he didn't even know most of his victims' names. He only remembered them by what he did to them. Yeah. And that was the only way he remembered them.
To me, and again, I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of listening to true crime. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just like, what are we doing here? People are just edging. I got to hear all these details. It's It's do you really think murder is that cool? It's oh, I love murder. It's cool. Well, when somebody breaks into your house with a weapon, we'll see how much you think this is cool. It's you're weird. Stop.
I watched the documentaries just for the investigative angle too.
I'm not against that. I'm not against educational, but I'm really just talking about this fad of people adding the element of comedy to
No,
true crime. I'm just like, what are you doing?
I don't know that I've seen that yet. If I did, I would probably turn it off.
I see it a lot, and I don't like it.
Yeah,
But
that's not
yeah,
cool.
these people have zero remorse, and that's why you can throw them in prison for the rest. There's nothing you're gonna do that's gonna make them see what they did is
It's
wrong.
like these people that share all these videos of all these fist fights and stuff going on everywhere in the schools, in the streets, in the stores.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Asking a serial killer to feel bad about what they did is like asking a puppy to learn how to play chess. It's not going to happen.
Right.
Christina says 1 in 25 have sociopathic tendencies.
Wow.
That's scary. John Wayne Gacy, what a psychopath. I'm interested in the psychological aspect. I blame BTK for. No, again, I know I'm not sitting here saying like I'm specifically talking about people that are just laughing their way to the bank. Just talking about gory things and throwing jokes. I'm just like, come on, man. Like these people have families,
Yeah, I mean, that brings up a good point when you're talking about John Wayne Gacy, Ted Bundy, Gary Ridgway. I mean, they were all, specifically Bundy and Gacy, because they were both well-respected people in their areas. And I haven't even seen a picture of John Wayne Gacy with Rosalind Carter, the first lady, when President Carter or Jimmy Carter was president. And he was a businessman. He posed as a clown for kids' birthday parties, and yet he was going around killing all these boys and young men and burying them in the crawl space under his house. Ted Bundy, he was a law student. He was an up-and-coming politician in the Republican Party. A lot of the people that knew him were like, no, they got the wrong guy. It couldn't possibly be him. They got the wrong guy. BTK, same thing. He was, church president. He was a Boy Scout leader, married 2 kids. And look what he was doing. It's crazy. It just blended right in.
And that's the thing too. Like when I say I feel like everybody thinks I'm picking on true crime. I consume a lot of true crime. Like one of my favorite things to do, I wish these videos didn't exist, but one of my favorite pastimes, and I do it probably 2 hours a day, is watch interrogations of people who I know are guilty. These are old interrogations, and I know that they've been found guilty. They're serving, but I get to watch, and like you talk about learning, I get to watch somebody who I know is lying, and I get to watch 2 or 3 seasoned investigators break down somebody's ego. Right. I'm not saying I think that's fascinating. Yeah, I'm more talking about the people that are just making comedy out of it. Diana says the more we know about the killers, the better we can figure out how to find them before they kill.
Right.
Alicia says me too. I usually don't, but I have been known to tell Dahmer jokes every now. Yeah. Well, again, well, like it's I'm not. It's not an all or none thing. I'm just saying like I got a little into a lot of the true crime comedy, and I kind of felt.
Oh wow.
I teach criminal profiling and criminology, and the goal of studying the cases is to solve them, and the goal of studying the predators is to understand and predict and deter the circumvent the behavior.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's why a lot of people felt like Ted Bundy shouldn't have been executed. He should have been kept alive so they could study him, pick his brain, find out what made him tick, and hopefully use that as a way to find out, why people kill and to lead them to be able to prevent it before it happens.
Yeah.
But he got fried.
Yeah.
He got the electric chair, old Sparky.
Yeah. But you're right, man. Like BTK, like he was the only one in my opinion that almost wanted to get caught, because then he could, I think that was his final thing, was being able to tell the world what he did. Like he was so, puffy chest proud of it. It's like, again, I didn't know my opinion. Like somebody's paying for that guy to eat every day.
Yeah,
take him out behind the shed and put like I just like, what do we need this guy here for? He's a monster. Like
if he watched his court hearing when he was talking about what he did, because Polston made him go into graphic detail on TV about what he did, he was just so mundane and so matter of fact, and so like it was no big deal.
There's nothing in there.
Pop his lips and just like it was nothing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Not a human. It's weird. Very weird. Let's talk about this Missouri case.
Yeah. Melinda Wilkinson, missing from Leadington, Missouri since May 8th, 2023. She's 32. She's 5'6", 125 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. She was last seen at 11 a.m. leaving Leadington, Missouri in her vehicle, which is described as a blue Hyundai Santa Fe with Missouri license plate CR3J9G. And she's 32 years old. She's 5'6", weighs 125 pounds, has brown blonde hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Melinda's disappearance, or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Livingston, Missouri Police Department at 573-431-3131 or Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178 or 866-362-6422. There's currently a $1,000 reward for information leading to Melinda being found. So if anybody has any information on Melinda at all, please get that called in and see what we can do to get her found and brought home.
Not good.
Nope.
Oh yeah, BTK's jokes were horrible.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like BTK, like
yeah, I never even heard of BTK until they resurfaced and started dropping those packages around Wichita and stuff. I was like, what? We had a serial killer in Wichita? What?
Yeah.
So yeah, I never even realized. Yeah, cereal boxes, Barbie dolls.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like that guy. Because talk about successfully getting away with it. Like, he would have never got caught. But I think that
his ego got him caught.
The fact that we're talking about him right now, that's what he wanted. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's a famous person for being a horrible. That's just the whole thing.
Yeah, sitting in the old Reno correctional facility for the rest of his life.
Yeah, proud of what he did. Okay, let's talk about Madeline.
This one was brought to my attention today. Thank you, Don. Madeline Molina Pantoja. I'm going to go with that pronunciation, and if I'm wrong, I apologize. She's missing from Midland, Texas since May 10th, 2023. She's 21. She is 5'4", 130 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. She was last seen at her apartment located at 1711 West Francis in Midland after a friend dropped her off at home following dinner. Friends and family say Madeline was arguing with a man before her disappearance. Madeline's phone, keys, and dog were found in the apartment, but no sign of Madeline was found. Again, Madeline's 21 years old. She's 5'4", weighs about 130 pounds. She has brown hair and brown eyes. She does have 2 butterfly tattoos behind her right ear. You can see down there on that photo there, and a rose tattoo on her arm. And if you have any information regarding Madeline's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Midland, Texas Police Department at 432-685-7108. And see if we can help get her located and back home to her family safe. There was a witness report of a pickup truck taking off at high speed from the apartment complex around the time she disappeared. Don't know if it's connected or not, but it has been reported by a witness that was seen. So, if anybody has any information, get it in quickly. I mean, she's already been missing for a week, so let's get her found.
Pretty distinctive tattoos.
Yeah. You're welcome, Don. Thank you for bringing it to my attention because I hadn't heard about it until you brought it to my attention. So thank you.
Let's talk about this Missouri case.
This Wesley. Wesley Mosier Jr., missing from Hillsboro, Missouri since May 1st of 2023. He's 43. He is 5'10", weighs between 175 and 200 pounds. Brown hair and brown eyes. He left on foot from 9217 Goldman Road in Hillsboro, and he's not been heard from or seen since. And he's 43 years old, 5'10", weighs between 175 and 200 pounds. Has brown hair that's balding and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Wesley's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call Investigator Holly Lunsford at 636-797-5477 or the Jefferson County, Missouri Sheriff's Office at 636-797-5000. Or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178 or 866-362-6422. See if we can't get Wesley located and back to where he needs to be.
Turned out to be a pretty busy summer.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it looks like it's ramping up. But
let's talk about this unsolved homicide. It was our cold case card of the week.
Yeah, Michael R. Maxwell, June 30th, 2018, Wichita, Kansas. Wichita, Kansas police officers were called shortly after 2 a.m. Saturday to a shooting outside a club at Harry and Water Streets. They arrived to find the victim, Michael Maxwell, in his vehicle, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He was later pronounced dead at a local hospital. An unknown SUV had pulled up to Michael's car and fired multiple shots. The SUV then fled south on Water. Michael had been involved in an altercation in Old Town before going to the club at Harry and Water. There were lots of people outside the club at the time of the shooting, but those who investigators have spoken with were uncooperative. If you have any information regarding Michael's death, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-268-4181 or Crime Stoppers at 316-267-2111 or the KBI at 1-800-572-7463 and see if we can't get some justice for Michael and his family.
Yeah. And are these? I'm curious if they're going to announce if they're going to do another deck or how they're going to do that.
Yeah, I hope they do. I haven't heard yet, but I hope they do.
Yeah. Like to see them, get as many of these cases out there,
Yeah.
Let's talk about this situation. Caden here, Independence, Kansas.
Yeah, Caden Zane. I guess I don't know if it's Isle or Isley. Missing from Independence, Kansas since May 17, 2023. He's 18 years old. He's 5'10", 120 pounds, red hair, brown eyes. He took only his laptop when he left, which my understanding is it was pinging around the Paris, Texas area. And he was driving a dark blue 2001 Chevy S10 with Kansas license plate number 988MNJ, which has also been located around or seen in the Dallas, Texas area. It's unknown if he's still driving it or not, but the truck was seen in the Dallas, Texas area. And he's 18 years old. He's 5'10", weighs 120 pounds, has red hair and brown eyes. He's last known to be wearing a black shirt, jeans, and black tennis shoes. If you have any information regarding Caden's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Montgomery County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-330-1000 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Caden located and back to where he needs to be. Sounds like right now he's down in Texas.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they can get that situated. Not good. Let's go ahead and talk about, is it Darian?
Yep, Darian Michelle Hudson, missing from Stillwater, Oklahoma since October 22nd, 2017. She was 23 when she went missing. She's now 28. She is 5'3", 120 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. She was suspected to be missing after not showing up for work. She was in the process of moving back to Wichita when she went missing. Her family and friends said she does not have a vehicle and that she might be suffering from a mental health crisis. At the time of her disappearance, she was 23 years old. She's now now be 28. She's 5'3" and weighs about 120 pounds. She has black hair and brown eyes. Has a tattoo of a feather and 5 birds that say "Birds of a Feather" flock together on her right shoulder, which you can see right there. And she was wearing a white T-shirt and blue jeans. And did you have that other flyer that had the additional information that I sent you as well?
I didn't put it on because they wouldn't be able to read it on the screen. It's too small on their phone, so I just would rather have her pictures up here. But you need to read it though.
Yeah, I was going to go over it.
Yeah. Let me pull it up real quick
because there's a lot more information about her disappearance there, and I do want to cover it.
All right, let me find it
because it kind of really supports the mental health crisis theory.
Okay, 1 second.
I was going to print it off and have it sitting in front of me, but my printer's being wonky. Printing streaky and everything else. I don't know what's going on with it. Although I tend to think a sledgehammer would probably fix the problem.
Right. Get it fixed. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, this is, again, she went missing from Stillwater, Oklahoma on October 22nd, 2017. When her parents were notified that no one could reach her, they went to Stillwater and checked her home in the 500 block of West 5th Street. The door was open. The light was on. There were dishes in the sink, but there was no obvious signs of foul play. Darian's cell phone and other belongings were left behind at the home. Her parents reported her missing on October 28th. About a month after Hudson was last seen, a man tried to use her credit card at a hotel in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and the police were alerted. They traced the man who said he'd found the card in a purse he stole from a construction site in Stillwater to St. Francis Xavier Catholic Church, which was being built at McElroy Road and Country Club Road, northwest of town. Man said he'd seen Hudson's purse hanging from a drainage pipe and took it. The police visited the construction site and spoke to numerous workers there, two of whom said they'd seen a woman matching Darian's description on October 26th, 4 days after her initial disappearance. The woman was sitting on the ground in a wooded area south of the church. When the two workers went to check on her, she just looked at them blankly. They told their boss, and a group of workers went to talk to the woman again, but again, she wouldn't speak to them. The local resident who lives east of the church saw the same woman later that day emerging from the woods and talking to his grandchildren. Another nearby resident saw the woman sitting on a construction equipment on the evening of October 26th, acting as if she was waiting on someone to give her a ride. There was no other sightings, but a search of the area with dogs and drones turned up her sweatshirt and her wallet. Prior to her disappearance, Darian had been working as a server at Chili's restaurant on Perkins Road for about 2 years. She'd recently suffered a miscarriage, broken up with her boyfriend, and lost her cherished dog. On October 21st, she told her parents that she wanted to move back to Wichita, and they said that she could. She didn't have a vehicle at the time of her disappearance. The circumstances of Darian's disappearance are unclear. She previously attended Langston University, where she played softball. Okay, now can you go back to the other flyer, and I'll give the contact info, please?
There we go.
Okay, and if you have any information regarding Darian's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Stillwater, Oklahoma Police Department at 405-742-8357 or the department's tip line at 405-742-8327, or their dispatch number is 405-372-4171, and see if we can't get Darian located and back to where she needs to be. It does sound like she may have been having some mental health issues at the time she went missing, and hopefully that's not the case, but let's see if we can get her found. I mean, as I was covering, they did find her sweatshirt and her wallet, so let's see if we can't find her.
Pretty noticeable tattoos for sure.
Yeah, I like that tattoo. Birds of a feather flock together with the 5 birds there. That's pretty cool.
Let's talk about your, is it Iriche?
I'm guessing so. I've never heard anybody actually say it, but I'm thinking Iriche Johnson. This is another unsolved homicide from Kansas City, Missouri, on October 17th of 2022. KCMO police officers responded to a report of a shooting about 7:45 p.m. on October 17th, 2022. On arrival, they found Iriche Johnson, 23, inside of a wrecked vehicle in the apartment complex's parking lot in the 5600 block of Norton Avenue. Iriche was rushed to a hospital where she died about 2 hours later. No suspect information has ever been released in the shooting. If you have any information regarding Iriche's death, please call the TIPS hotline at 816-474-8477. All tips are anonymous. A reward of $25,000 is being offered for information leading to an arrest in Iriche's death. So anybody has any information regarding her homicide at all, please get it called in so we can get some justice for her and her family.
$25,000.
That's what the information I saw said.
Wow.
I was like, whoa. Okay. But yeah, that's quite a hefty reward.
Poor girl.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if she wasn't shot and then eventually wrecked the vehicle. Is what I'm wondering. Yeah, okay. This is Alex Gardner, another Missouri case, Kansas City again. Missing since April 20th, 2023. He's 22, 5'10", 180 pounds, brown hair, hazel eyes. He was last seen near Northwest 59th Terrace and North Kirkwood Avenue in Kansas City. He was driving a blue 2009 Honda CRV, which has since been recovered, but he has not been found yet. He does require medical attention. Again, he's 22 years old. He's 5'10", weighs 180 pounds, has brown hair and hazel eyes. He's last known to be wearing a black hooded sweatshirt. If you have any information regarding Alex's disappearance or you know his whereabouts, please call 911 immediately or call the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department's Missing Persons Unit at 816-234-5043 or Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178 or 866-362-6422. And see if we can't get Alex located and back to where he needs to be. And thankfully, Kansas City is their police department has decided to reactivate their missing persons unit because they had combined it with some other units because of my understanding budgeting and staffing, but they've relaunched their missing persons unit now. So it's a full-blown unit again.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, his vehicle was recovered, but he has not been found yet.
Wow. We got two more cases, and we got a located safe by Brandon, and we'll get out of your hair. Let's go ahead and talk about Loy.
All right, this is Lloyd Gillespie Evitts. This is another one that goes back to 1977. Kansas City, Missouri. Been missing since February 28th, 1977. Was 29. She would now be 75. She's 5'5", 126 pounds, blonde hair, hazel eyes. Lloyd was last seen during her lunch hour on February 28, 1977 in Kansas City, Missouri. She had her watch adjusted, browsed several stores on the plaza, drove to a drugstore on Main Street in Westport, and bought coffee and an umbrella. Evitts' yellow 1970 MG sports car with license plate number Joe 4869 was found back in its customary space in the Plaza Center building's parking garage that afternoon, but there were no signs of her, and she's never been heard from again. Her purse and some other belongings were found 10 days later under a bridge in southeast Kansas City near Unity Village. Loy was employed at a law firm at the time of her disappearance. Her loved ones stated she was very attached to her car and it had been uncharacteristic for her to walk anywhere when she could drive. She was born and raised in Coffee, Kansas, and was a former Queen nominee at Kansas State University, where she studied clothing and retailing. She lived in Overland Park, Kansas at the time of her disappearance, was happily married, and was not having romantic or financial problems. Evitts is described as a meticulous person, both about her appearance and in her possessions. Loy's disappearance is considered suspicious, but little evidence is available in her case. Her husband had her declared legally dead 7 years after she was last seen. If you have any information regarding Loy's disappearance, or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department at 816-234-5220, or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178, or 866-362-6422, and see if we can't get Loy located and back home to where she needs to be. It's been a very long time.
Yeah. Probably pretty close to that date she shared earlier, because I think that one was a 77 case too.
Yeah.
Wow. And then this is Deborah Reed. This is the last one I have on here. It's an unsolved homicide from Colorado.
Yeah, Deborah R. Reed. I did the August 3rd, 4th, 1997, because they haven't been able to pinpoint an actual date of death. But it was in Los Animas, Colorado, I believe. Body of Deborah R. Reed, 34, was found on August 14th, 1997, under a bridge about 16 miles east of Walsenburg, Colorado. Deborah was from Los Animas, Colorado. I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I apologize. Deborah was reported missing by her sister and her ex-husband on August 4th, 1997, after failing to show up at her job at the Bent County Corrections Facility. She had made a phone call on August 3rd from a La Junta gas station. Her known whereabouts. The CBI, Colorado Bureau of Investigation, said the cause of Reed's death is unknown because of the severe body decomposition, but investigators believe she was murdered. Homicide investigators are looking for new information in this cold case. Deborah was the mother of 2 young girls and someone who was well respected in the community. If anybody has any information regarding Deborah's disappearance, her death, or a possible suspect, please call the Colorado Bureau of Investigation at 303-239-4312 and see if we can help get some justice for Deborah and her family.
Yeah. Too many. As of an hour before the show, 204 missing juveniles, 326 adults. Not good. Not good. Kelsey Youngblood in the house.
Hey, Kelsey.
Kelly Uphoff, why did he have her declared dead?
I do not know. That's a good question.
Debbie was my first cousin. 2 things we know. It was likely a homicide that I remember. She had no shoes on her body when her body was found and was wrapped in a blanket from her own bed. Wow.
Really?
Wow.
That information I did not know, because I didn't see that in any article that I read.
Right.
It was not on CBI's website either.
Wow. Well, we gave you a bunch of bad news. Here's some good news. Video from Brandon Smith. We'll be right back after this.
Yep, always like those located safe reels. I sent Brandon 16 located safes for the reel this week. 16. That's quite a few for 1 week.
Yeah, there's several weeks we don't even do a video because we only have like 4 or 5.
Yeah. I think there was only 1 week we had like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not good. Yep, Garden City, July 1st. We're going to have a bunch of Ricky's flyers for all the flyers in Garden City hung up there at an event. It's going to be fun. Bonnie Reese, not all heroes wear capes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I should say it more, but not very public. Her parents and my mom, thank you for making a flyer for her case. I doubt it will ever be solved. There's always a glimmer of hope.
Yeah,
of course.
There's a glimmer of hope.
That's why we do this show.
Just hopefully the flyers reach the right people, and they do the right thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Backhomemedia.com. Check out all the other shows that we produce here at our company. And KMUPOD.com. You can visit that website. You can suggest a case. You can send Ricky an email if you just want to say hi. You do it all at KMUPOD.com. But Ricky, I've been up since 4:30, so you do your thing, and
wow.
I am going to go to bed, buddy.
Well, Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight to go over these missing persons and unsolved homicides. And we just always pray that they reach the right people and they'll do the right thing and make the right phone calls or email the right tips or text the right tips, whatever they need to do to get that information there. Until next week, until we go over another load of cases, everybody stay safe, stay healthy. God bless, and amen.
Well, I don't think it, I thought it, that's different. I said what I said and I meant it, or lamented. Words given weight without thought, and a person the way that I talk, and the way that I ought to be able to pause and to say that the fault can be placed on my arm, to this playful assault, to disgrace in this arm. Pray for the day they could wait for the calm. You can't control the storm, only weather it, whether it's 5 weeks and 5 days of rain sideways, or scorched earth, search for death, or water left with all the thorns, with the petals gone, settle on the breath of autumn. If the ground fits, wear it, then